your goals?
That was one of the goals this year, and I gave up a reversal in my semis match at regionals. So, I mean, it was only 2 points. I mean, I did score 498 other points against people and only gave up 2. But next year, the main goal is to not give up points and just to get things done and over with. And also to keep the girls out that I've been told are coming out next year. Like, I know we have a lot of 8th graders that'll come up to freshmen next year, but I've also been told a lot of them that are wrestling now are also going to play basketball. But I think I found a way around that, and I'm going to get them to come out.
Spoken like a true state champion.
Absolutely. So, my last thing for you is since you've moved to Sigourney, started wrestling at Sigourney, came to Sigourney, explain what the support system's been like. How people, I mean, have you had good fans, good backers? I know one of your biggest fans in particular is my cousin, lives down in Ollie, George Snakenberg.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on George?
George is a funny guy. He's always like, every time I see him, he's always like so excited to like watch wrestling and this and that. There's even one time that I fell asleep after we got done wrestling, just waiting for like the rest of the matches, and he came just to wake me up to tell me that he was leaving, and I was like, okay. But he's a good guy.
Yeah, I know George is pretty intense. I know I was over at First Gulf War, and I got back right after state wrestling was on, and he calls me up and he's like, does this just get you all pumped up? And and then when 9/11 happened, he called me and he goes, it makes me think of my wrestling days and how intense I got going to state.
Yeah.
And he goes, does this just get you all fired up? And I told George, system here, you got your mom and dad, obviously.
Yeah.
Who else kind of supports you and backs you and makes sure you get to where you need to go and gives you everything you need to be successful?
The main people would be my parents, but also any of my coaches, whether I have them right now or they were in the past. Like, not only my parents, but like even my entire family, not just my siblings, like my aunts, uncles, everybody's super supportive. And it's just great to see that everybody wants to support me and is there for me.
And one last question for you here too, Rihanna, is I know last year you stood on the boys' podium, and this year you were on the girls' podium. I mean, what was the difference? Or I mean, were you really more proud of one than the other, or it was just part of what you do?
For me, I was most proud of being able to place up boys' state, becoming the second girl ever too. Especially now with them sanctioning girls wrestling, no other girl's going to get the opportunity to even try. So I was glad that I could become the second girl ever to. And for me, boys wrestling has always been more challenging for me because as a girl, we're not physically as strong as guys are, so it's a lot different trying to wrestle them. But for me, being on both podiums was nice, and it's like kind of the same. It's just where you ended up on the podium, for me, like as an 8th place boys finish, is just the same as like a girls' state title to me.
Oh, very good. So this year, during the boys, did you go up to watch this year? Or?
I did not go up to watch, but I did have it pulled up during like school, and it was on my computer. I was watching everybody.
Yeah. Was there any boys on the podium that was like around your weight that you were like, I beat him, or I wrestled him? Or
we were actually looking at that in between like 1A, 2A at 106. We both, I think that I could have placed pretty high this year. There was a couple of them that I've wrestled and had really close matches to, like both 2A finalists. I only lost to by a point, so I know I can stick in there with them.
Yeah. No, right there. Very good. Rihanna, I know you guys got a big day planned ahead of you here, so we'll get you guys out of here. But thanks for coming in. Shane, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Good luck to your sister and all the kids up at state today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rihanna. Thanks, Shane.
Thanks. Yep.
All right, and make sure you pick up some hardware here before you get out of here. While we're in between guests, because I think you're going to get called up here. We do want to, hang on, Rihanna, if you want to come around here. We do have our Keokuk County Hospital and Clinics Athlete of the Week, and that is Gage Spurgeon this week of Eddyville, Blakesburg, Fremont Wrestling. Gage was a state champ and was voted as our Athlete of the Week this week. So congratulations. He's our first EBF high school athlete to be voted the Athlete of the Week on the Steve Shetler Media platform. So congratulations again to Gage Spurgeon EBF Wrestling, our Keokuk County Hospital and Clinics Athlete of the Week. We'll start taking nominees for this coming week starting on Monday. So make sure you get your nominees in. I always put up a post on Facebook on Sunday, kind of Sunday late afternoon, early evening, asking for your nominees. So be on the lookout for that here on Facebook. And let's take it back now to Alan and Bruce, as I believe they're going to surprise our next guest by calling her up. Alan and Bruce.
Hobbs.
It's just Hobbs. Everybody knows Hobbs.
Hey, guys.
Thanks for coming in here today, Hobbs. I guess you're taking over for us starting next week.
That's what I hear, and I'm absolutely like, you guys are awesome.
You got like really big shoes to fill, and then kind of shoes to fill.
Well, as long as they don't smell, I guess
like
we'll be all
after
right.
the next 3 months, we're probably not going to want to step back in
Probably
because
not.
Hobbs probably don't even need a guest. She can just sit up here and talk.
Well, well, that's what the kids say at school. Just they purposely try to get me off task. So they start with a question, and it might take 45 minutes later, and I'm still talking about it.
I guess Hobbs,
So-
like every first guest, we'll just have you, talk about your background in sports, kind of where you grew up, what you did, through elementary, junior high, college, whatnot, just so everybody here can kind of get a feel for why you're taking over as a host.
Well, geez, I feel like in Goonies where they're like, start from the beginning. He's like, this one time. Anyway, well, I grew up in Westchester, out on the farm, so not very far from here. And I always knew the legacy of Sigourney, football and SK football. So I had all older boy cousins. I played football every family gathering. Ran and swam in the creek every time I had a chance. Just things like that. Well, and then, this past week was the 4th anniversary of, I've been hooked on sports ever since. We didn't have cable TV, especially living out on the farm. But anytime there was a Hawkeye game on TV, basketball, football, my family is a sports family. We put everything on pause anytime the Hawks were on TV. So I grew up loving Hayden Fry, Chuck Long. My still probably the best game in Hawkeye history is, when they beat Michigan, number 1 versus number 2. The Michigan State where Chuck Long, had
The boot play.
yes, the bootleg for the win, the slowest quarterback in NCAA history, but just things like that. The big win at Ohio State. Anyway, I was just one of those kids that loved.
Slower than Deacon Hill.
No, absolutely not.
No, not slower than
Put that
Deacon Hill.
conversation on hold.
Yeah, I still, anytime a kid makes a bad pass in a basketball game, I'm like, well, you're watching. You don't have much. Role models on
football.
TV. Yeah, exactly. Stop watching Hawkeye football. But anyway, so then elementary, growing up in Westchester, it was the Sandlot. I would ride my bike to town, and we would play baseball at the Westchester little school there, or we would play basketball. And being one of the only girls in town, I had to hang with the boys.
So was that just in elementary then, or?
Pretty much. Well, yeah, because then after that, Westchester didn't have enough kids, so started playing for Wellman. And then junior high, I wanted to play football, but we still had fall softball, so I didn't play football. I played fall softball, and then I don't know, just always played sports. Then in high school, I was a decent ball player. Went to Iowa State. I went to McPrairie. Went to Iowa State. I became the manager for the women's basketball team my freshman year. Sophomore year, we had a new coach. With the new coach, and also there's lots of injuries and other defections. And she's like, hey, Hobbs, you want to play? And I about, what any player would do to play at Iowa State. I'd about
Right.
crap my pants, not gonna lie, and because I was always there early shooting, and I'd play with the girls, before practice, and so then that's my story. That's how I got on the women's basketball team at Iowa State. My senior year, I was named captain and awarded a scholarship. Now it would have went viral and all that stuff, but it was just like, coach called me in the office and was like, Hobbs, thank you for your contributions to our team. You're our leader, and we're going to give you a scholarship. And I was just like, again, another very proud moment. And I had an ag major. I was an animal science major. I was planning on farming my whole life. But going with sports and having the opportunity to play at Iowa State, work camps, being asked to go to elementaries, when you're called and say, hey, do you want to be my special person of the day, at Roland Story? I'm like, heck yeah. I put everything aside. I always tried to do, I was a fan favorite kind of, because I spent time after all the games with the kids, and I'd go watch them play AAU in Boone, I really tried to do that for all the kids. Anyway, that's just how I got in sports.
And how did you end up at Sigourney Keota?
That's another good story. Well, I was at Ames because I went actually back to school to get my teaching authorization because I wasn't a teacher. Like I said, I was an animal science major, and I still coached on the side. And it's one of those things where I kind of missed hanging out with the kids all day, and I know you guys do awesome at that, show up at 4, but I was just like, I kind of like being around kids all the time. So I went back to school, and then I was in Ames, and I coached at Ames High. Well, when the girls, actually, I was contacted, and Bob Howard was like, hey, we have a girls' basketball job, and a science job. So why don't you come on down here? And I was like, you don't tell Bob Howard no. So, and at the time, the contracts were issued, and he was actually the girls' basketball coach my first year because he didn't want anybody else to get it. So then he, took the contract. So we had an agreement my first year here. He was going to be head coach, and he'd do all the radio stuff and, paperwork and all that so I can get my feet wet. He was offensive coordinator, and I was defensive coordinator. And then the second year, then I would be the girls' basketball coach, and Bob Howard was my assistant, which there's a lot of good stories on that, too. And that's just kind of how I got my foot in the door. I also coached assistant volleyball coach with Chris Carter for my entire time here. And again, I love doing that. Get to know the girls. Also, head coach, assistant coach, you're kind of good cop, bad cop. So it's sometimes good to be, the good cop. Sometimes, as a head coach, you're the one that always has to, demand. And so then as an assistant coach, you can, build them back up after the head coach chews their butt. So that was always, it was good for the girls to see me in that role as well. So then through the years at Sigourney, I helped with the throwers on track. And that was a lot because, a lot of them were my basketball players. So we'd do our throws, workout, lift weights in the weight room, and then we'd play pickup basketball for track practice. So, I had my ways of getting them in the gym a lot. And the girls, I tell you what, the Sigourney girls, when I first moved here, the entire time I was here, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, all summer long, in the gym. I could set my watch by some of them showing up 8 o'clock, boom, in the gym. And then Tuesday, Thursdays, weights and volleyball. And then on Sundays, summer league. So they were in the gym 6 days a week, all summer long. They came in for half an hour basketball workout. I didn't kill them. They had to be at the pool by noon to work at the pool, or play softball that evening. I love softball, still coach softball. So anyway, I've been really grateful for this community and the Keota community, and thanks for welcoming me.
Yeah, no, you've been excellent here. So back to your story there I got to hear at least one story with Bob Howard.
Okay.
What was it like coaching with him, I guess? I mean, just since it was just you two, instead of like on a football staff where there was a dozen of us.
Well, let's just say after pretty much every practice and games, we would sit either on the bleachers and talk for hours or go to his office and talk for hours. So he told me, stories from, way back, and they always had a point, like that was relevant to what happened that day or so anyway, this one time let's talk about my very first game in Sigourney. And again, the girls 2 years before I came, they went 0-22. The year before that, they were 3-19. So I mean, one of the first practices, a senior asked how to set a screen. So we're like, so Coach Howard just kind of stood back and go, "Oh, this is what we're dealing with." And he's like, he first told me, he goes, "This is what we're going to teach them. Throw it and catch it. We're going to start with the basics. Throw it and catch it." And as the offense coordinator, we had one out of bounds play until Christmas. He's like, we got to get one perfected before we move on. Anyway, so no, our very first game, we were playing Tri-County, and they were pretty good at the time. They had some really good athletes. And I'm a big believer in full court press, and we had athletes, Maureen Moore and Sam Makota, and Jacqueline Flynn and Cody Workman and Amy Dobbins, super fast. And so we full court press them, and we were winning by quite a bit. And I look at him, I was like, all right, better take off the press. And he's like, no. These girls haven't felt success forever. Let them do it. I'm like, all right. So we won 73-19. And I was like, all right. And I tell you what, afterwards, the girls is just like light switch turned on, like, oh my gosh, we can play basketball. And at the time, we went 10-12 that season, but also EV was ranked number 1. They had just come off of their state runner-up. I think Linville Solo is ranked number 3. HLV was just loaded as well. I mean, the conference was tough. And so we beat the people we were supposed to beat, and then we lost with people that we should have lost to. So it was a big, the girls really saw that if they work hard, great things will happen. So then the next year we went 12-11, which we were disappointed. In those 11 losses, 9 of them, we actually had the halftime lead. Wow. So those seniors, which would have been the next year, Cody Workman, Meredith Holm, Carly Hammis, Jacqueline Flynn, Jessica Noller, Tiffany Decker, those kids who, as freshmen, went 3-19, they set a goal that if we're winning, going in the fourth quarter, we're not losing. And so we went 19-4 and shared the conference title with Iowa Valley. So, and we also won the conference title in volleyball that year as well. And it was just, I love that group to death. Just a special group. And then Katie Sheets, was a junior starting point guard. And my favorite story from that season was we were at Belle Plaine. We were down 10 in the fourth quarter. And about 3 minutes to go. And I called a timeout, and I met Carly Hammis on the court. I like to do that if I had to have a little talk with one especially. And I was like, Carly, you know why I love you? I said, because last year at the conference track meet, distance med, you got the handoff on the 800 down 300 meters. You made up the time, and you won that race. That's why, and I want to see that right now. And just things like that and then we won. And we had massive foul trouble. Carolyn Holm and Stephanie Atwood as freshmen, they had to play some minutes that game. And we just found a way to win. And that's that group, well, all of them, found a way to win. So it's just little stories like that I like. There is another good Bob Howard story. Those old ice packs? I don't even think we use anymore. That you hit and you rub together and makes it, cold for like 5 minutes. Yeah. It's on that, but anyway. So somebody had gotten hurt. He whipped one out, and he boom, hit it, exploded everywhere, like all over, like Meredith home, and he's like, oh my god, he's like, because there's chemical in there, so he's like, he got a little nervous that we anyway we got it cleaned up, but got a little excited. Well, our very first coaching shirts. So he always treated me really well, and so he had ordered new coaching shirts for us my first year. Well, they had come in, and they had purple on them because he always ordered stuff for SK. Yeah. And well, anyway, in the little logo, Sigourney girls basketball or whatever, there was purple background. And we had a game that night, and he really wanted to wear his new shirt. He got a black Sharpie, and he colored the purple black, and he smelled like Sharpie. I mean, I could barely sit by him at the game. It was so strong. I was just like, what the heck? And then over Christmas break, we'd have, practices in the morning. And he would come in full ice fishing gear. And he's like, I sure hope you planned a quick one. I got fishing to do.
Steve, you got any questions here for...
I think this is going to be an interesting ride here the next few months here, Jenny.
Steve, you were talking there, but I said I don't even know if Hobbs needs to get a guest because she can just sit up here by herself and tell stories. Tell Bob Howard stories.
I could.
Get Coach Howard back here. Maybe you guys could reminisce.
Oh, gee, there's some good ones. But
no, it's going to be fun. Obviously, Alan and Bruce, you guys have been here for the first 6 months of the sports section. This 6 months has flown by. I don't know if it has for you guys too.
Yeah.
But it's flown by, and you guys are well deserving of a break. And I reached out to Jenny and asked her to help out. I know you're going to do it for the next few months, and Mitch Eslick is going to be helping out later on this summer. So everybody gets kind of their own little season here on the sports section. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and it'll be good to have a new perspective on things and some different ways of doing things. So we'll shake things up here for the next few months with Jenny Hobbs. And I know, looking at the comments today, people are already kind of chiming in. They're like, oh, especially some of the Kyoto folks, like, oh, Hobbs is the best. We're looking.
Oh, jeez.
So it's going to be fun.
No, one more question here, Steve, for Hobbs is so last night I'm sitting in my recliner just watching TV. Steve messages me and he's like, I think Hobbs is coming in tomorrow just to check it out, whatnot. So I'm sitting there in my chair and I'm like, I always write down all my little notes and stuff, and I'm like, what is Hobbs's name? I mean, I'm like, I could not think of your first name. I could not think of your last. I'm just like, I just know her as Hobbs. It's like junior high football. All I know is the kids by their last name, and I've known Hobbs forever as Hobbs. And it took me forever. I was like, I don't even know what to say. I mean, like, it's just Hobbs. And then I got to thinking, I'm like, I'll bet Hobbs's driver's license is just like McLovin. There's no first name. It's just Hobbs.
It just says Hobbs.
Prince. I do not have a symbol for my name, but when I coached college basketball at Nebraska Kearney, and I came back home. Anyway, so we had a week where like goodbye to Kearney Hobbs week. And that was a question asked several times. They're like, what is your first name?
I don't think I knew forever. It was just Hobbs. Yeah. I thought, well, maybe that's her first name and last name.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't text me because he always asked me.
You know?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Like, hey, what is
so-and-so's name? What is so-and-so's first name?
Yeah.
All the time.
I get stuck with that with junior high football. I don't know the kids' I just know my last name, and it's like, I don't even know what your first name is.
Well, that's like in Kyoto. Everybody's got a nickname.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Did you have one?
Coach.
Coach? It's just
that's
Coach.
that's what Barrett the Ruse called me, Coach.
Okay.
So I have to have Matt translate. I'm like, okay, you're gonna have to put names in there for me. So
I've always told Al, I go, everybody in Kyoto has a nickname. We'll know we made it in Kyoto when we get nicknames.
Yeah, and we still haven't got nicknames.
We still haven't got nicknames yet,
Ooh,
Kyoto
okay, that
people.
sounds like a challenge. Okay, all right. We'll come up with something.
Let's go ahead and transition into our pick'ems. This is something we do, Hobbs.
Okay.
This will be perfect
Start
for
calling
Hobbs
you
too.
Hobbs.
Okay. That's fine.
And we'll leave it up to you if you want to continue this tradition. But we do a little pick'ems, and we'll have to update some of the pictures and stuff. But we're looking at our pictures right now on the screen. The pick'ems standings right now. We've been doing this. I don't know. We had kind of a first season, and this is the second season. I don't know how we split that up exactly. But right now, I and Bruce, you and I are currently in the lead. So I don't know. Is this or today's pick'ems going to decide the winner of
our
this
championship?
particular
Yep.
season?
Yep.
All right. So myself, and
Choice
Bruce,
of liquor.
Well, I was going to say,
We're in the liquor section.
I noticed we're right next door.
So myself and Bruce have 65 points.
Ooh.
The guest pickers slot, along with Alan, are at 63. And then
tight.
Neil Crott, who remains on the injured reserve, is at 61. So, yeah, very tight, close race there. Again, it's me and Bruce, 65. Guest pickers and Alan at 63. And Neil at 61. So those are our current standings. What I got my friend Michael Dietrich.
Michael
here,
Dietrich is going to be
who,
Neil today.
You're gonna get on camera.
Get on up here, Michael.
My buddy Michael Dietrich. We're throwing a lot of people on
Yes, we do have another
that we're
seat.
not expecting to be on the video today.
But that's how we work. That's how we roll.
Rolls. And so Michael, known as Dietro as well, he does have a nickname. Making his Steve Shetler Media debut will be our guest picker. Who's who here? Who's Neil? Or who's Neil and who's the guest picker?
Hobbs is a guest picker.
Okay.
Neil is Dietro.
All right. And all right, so let's get into
We're
it.
going to
What
let
we got for
Hobbs
game?
go first so she can diagnose each game, and then that way we'll know a little more what's going on here.
Okay, it's basketball.
Okay,
All right.
so men's basketball today. Number 2 Houston at number 11 Baylor.
Ooh. I tell you what, and if you guys watched the the Houston Iowa State game earlier in the week, number 1, Houston might be a little dinged up because it was physical. I mean, those guys, they're men. I mean, they are grown, muscular, like you're talking about college guys. No, they're big. And they are physical. Baylor can shoot it, but they're not as physical this year as they have been in the past. With it being at home with Baylor, I'm still going to go Houston, but by 2 or 3 points.
I'll take Houston.
If it's at home, I'm taking Baylor. Big 12 has been really tough to win on the road this year.
I'll go Houston.
I'm going to go with Dietro here. I'm going to go with Baylor just because they're at home, and I do agree. I mean, home in the Big 12 is tough to win at. So today, Iowa at number 12 Illinois men's basketball.
Okay. The Iowa men's season's been a little up and down, not going to lie. And I think there's just too much firepower with Illinois. If Iowa can handle the physicality of the game, they'll be all right. And if their 3-pointers are falling, but I'm still going to have to go with Illinois.
I'm going Illinois.
Yeah, I'm spending Neil's money here, so I'm taking Iowa.
Nice pick.
Perfect.
Nice pick, Dietro.
Yeah, Iowa's just all over the place this year. I don't know.
I think they are on a 2-game win streak.
They are.
though.
Yeah.
They've been
But then
playing well.
But then they'll just play horrible. Illinois. I hope Iowa wins, but I'll say Illinois.
Yeah, I think Illinois is going to be too much here, too, at Illinois. Today, men's basketball, number 10, North Carolina at Virginia. And these two teams actually have identical records. They're both like 18-4.
Virginia got dismantled last weekend. And I was just flabbergasted. I turned it on late and I saw the score and I was just like, what? But sometimes you just have to go by how cute their coach is. And I love Coach Ryan at Virginia. Not a big fan of Herbert Davis at North Carolina. I don't think former players end up being great coaches at their own school. But so I'm going to go Virginia with the defense.
I don't know who Virginia's coach is or how cute he is, but I'm still going to
cute.
go Virginia.
His dad, Bo Ryan, coached at Wisconsin forever and ever.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll take North Carolina based on pedigree.
It's an awful big word for our show.
Yeah, pedigree. Michael brings the intellect to the show. I'll go North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm going to go North Carolina. I like their colors, so I'm going to be one of those guys. Also today, men's basketball, number 13, Alabama at number 17, Kentucky.
That is a tough one. And I'm going to be honest, I have not watched Alabama or Kentucky play this season. I'm not a big SEC fan, and I'm definitely not a big Alabama fan after last year's situation. I'm going to go with pedigree on this one. I'm going to go Kentucky.
I think I'm going to have to go Kentucky on this one.
Blue blood Kentucky all the way.
Well, then I'll go Alabama.
This is where Steve's always hanging in. He has some wild picks and wins. I'm going to go Kentucky too here. Let's see. Also today, men's basketball, West Virginia at Iowa State.
And I saw that Iowa State was favored 17.5.
Oh, wow.
And which then somebody I saw on Twitter World said, well, then that means it's going to be a 1-point game because Iowa State, loves to mess with the spread. I'm going to have to, obviously, always go with the Clones.
As much as it kills me. Iowa State.
Iowa State at home, that tough defense, Iowa State.
I would have used Neil's money there.
Now, see, Coach Hobbs, this is where me and you are going to get – it's going to get interesting over the next few weeks during March Madness. You're a Cyclone and I'm a Hawkeye, so we'll clash.
Time out. March Madness. Is there going to be a Hawkeye men's team in March Madness?
NIT.
Oh, going down already.
Oh, sorry.
What are we talking about?
Let's see.
say-
West Virginia at Iowa State.
oh, yeah.
I will say Iowa State.
Yeah, Hilton Magic. They ain't going to beat the Clones in Iowa at Ames. So, Sunday, tomorrow, women's basketball, we'll switch over to LSU at Tennessee.
Oh, well.
Yeah, boo.
This is a pretty good matchup, too.
It's a very good matchup. I'm a huge fan of the Tennessee coach, and that is a former player from Tennessee that played for Pat Summitt. And she was at Southwest Missouri State, actually coached an Iowa kid there, and she did so well there that then she was hired back at Tennessee. And, well, not a Kim Mulkey fan. Even though sometimes I feel like I need a sequence jacket
Even though,
to
you know
coach
what?
in.
Of anybody that could pass off dressing like Mulkey, it's Hobbs.
Oh, she could pull it off.
Oh, the foot stomp, the
Absolutely.
foot stomp. I got the foot stomp
And
down.
what
You gotta
would have
do
been
the-
better is if you would have did it with Howard.
And you got to do the LSU eyelashes, too,
Oh.
that all the players have.
I still don't know how you play with eyelashes, fake eyelashes. Just because I do not like LSU, and it's always been I haven't liked LSU or Coach Mulkey. Tennessee.
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 Rocky Top.
LSU.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to go Rocky Top on this one. I like Tennessee at home. I like their chances.
Although I hope LSU loses.
Yeah.
I'll pick
Uh,
Tomorrow, Illinois, women's basketball, Illinois at Caitlin Clark.
I tell you what, and I'm going to say that, and I feel bad for not being at the game where she scored, the record, because I've been at like all the other historic events at Carver for women's basketball. I was there when Vivian Stringer said, "Everybody come," and there's 22,000 people. We were sitting in the, the aisles, and I was there for that, and I was there for when they won the regional final to go to the Final Four in '93, and I was there, last fall in the football stadium. So I missed that one, but Kyoto Eagles were playing that night. But anyway, Caitlin needs, all of them, they need a game where they can kind of breathe. And I think this is the game where they can breathe a little bit. I mean, it's going to be physical. They found out that all they have to do is muscle the Hawks, and they're going to struggle. But I think they figured it out, and I'm going to say Hawks by a mile.
Hawks.
Hawks. And I was at that big Carver attendance game so many years ago.
Wasn't it awesome?
30 some years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was awesome.
I'll go with the Clarks.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Fighting Clarks. You can't go against them.
No.
Also, women's basketball tomorrow, number 18 Utah at number 7 USC.
Oh, well, they've been talking about the USC girl that's probably going to break Caitlin Clark's record. But I'm going to go Utah. They're going to be the future member of the Big 12 or Big 20 or whatever we're going to call it now. So I'm going to go Utes.
USC at home.
Neil's money, we're going Utah.
I will go with USC.
Yeah, I'm going to go USC here too.
Yeah, safe bet. It is.
Okay, and then our last two games here, just local schools that made the state tournament. We're going to go they're the seed Montezuma, and they play the top seed Northland.
I saw on Twitter World the other day, I think it was Iowa Chill on Twitter, ranked the most hated high schools in Iowa. Number one, I was a little disappointed that Davenport Assumption wasn't number one. And Northland was on there. I was like,
Wow.
What? They're just a small school that wins. I mean, why hate it? A small school that wins. But anyway, Northland's tough. But Coach Burgess at Montezuma, she was a teammate of mine at Iowa State, and I know she'll have them ready. And I know, sorry, guest pickers on this, but I'm going to have to go Montezuma.
I've seen some clips online about Northland, and they're legit.
They're
I'm gonna have
good.
to go Northland.
Let's go Monty.
I'll be a homer here in Southeast Iowa. Montezuma, what the heck?
I'm going Northland. I need some points. So, and then my last one, the EBF girls are the number 5 seed against Sioux Central, who is the number 4 seed in 2A.
I'll go with local. I'll stick with the Eddyville, Blakesburg, Fremont Rockets.
I watched a little bit of the Eddyville North Mahaska game, and Eddyville looked pretty impressive. They're fast, so I'm going to go with Eddyville.
I'll just take the other side and be Sioux Center.
EBF.
Yeah, I'm going to go EBF. They kind of took it to North Mahaska, who I thought was a pretty good squad this year. So, nope, that's our pick 'em, Steve, for this week. Good luck, everybody. And Hobbs, thanks for filling in for the next 3
Hobbs,
months.
Thank you.
You're
If
welcome,
you guys are
Bruce.
looking for a good show, be here next Saturday morning at 8 o'clock because Hobbs will have something to talk about,
And
I
her
guarantee
first
you.
name is Jenny.
Yes,
Since we
they're-
never even got to that, it is Jenny.
Last name is Flynn, but Hobbs just, I don't know, just hits the spot.
Yeah,
It's just-
it'll always
it's
be
right.
Hobbs.
It's
Yep.
Hobbs.
And again, Alan and Bruce, thank you for doing the first 6 months here on the sports section. And if we can work out the contracts, the $1 million signing bonus and all that stuff, we'll have you guys back in the fall. So
NIL money should be higher by then.
Well, they're just taking time off to concentrate on junior high track to figure out how to
Yes.
beat my 4x1 team,
there you go.
which shouldn't be a problem this year.
And
say,
Dietro,
if
thank
that's a
you.
problem, I'll just
Thank
come
you,
back
my
down.
friend
We'll be
Michael Dietrich, for hanging. Oh, we got the Taylor Swift heart. Michael Dietrich, a Sigourney legend, doing our guest picks today. And Hobbs, will see you next week. Guys, thank you so much. And until next Saturday morning at 8 a.m. here at Brothers Market, we'll see you on the sports section next Saturday.
I will stick it there.